Welcome to our show, A Gentleman's Take, a video podcast where we offer a more refined and sophisticated view on everything in this journey we call life.
All from the perspective of a gentleman.
I'm your host, JD Denbow, and this is my earnest co-host,
Mac.
What's up, man?
What's up?
All right, well, here's a little bit of what you can expect today, a little rundown. We cover a variety of subjects and activities and offer our take on them. Or as they say in the common tongue, sitting around and shooting the shit. That about right?
Sounds about right.
Well, Mac, it's a little bit of a cold week so far. I thought we were done with this, but thankfully there'll be no ice water dumps.
I knew we weren't done with it because of where we live, and it never figures itself out.
I always say it every year, winter's last stand. Die.
For 3 months.
Yeah, and then it'll be the nonstop monsoons. But yeah. So going into this week's show, before we do that, I would like to address some feedback from last week's episodes. Namely, my inability to comprehend when you explain a crazy take to me.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were a little thrown off by what my answer on taking years off of people to prolong my own life.
From last Tuesday?
From last Tuesday.
Okay.
And people are like, what are you doing? Even you pointed it out, and I still wasn't getting it. So when I was editing, I caught it, and I went, oh, man. It made me seem like I was trying to be too nice, and the point was I wasn't trying to be too nice. And I thought I was the villain by saying what I said. Here's what happened. So when you were explaining the multiplication process of, hey, so if you take 1 year, that's going to be, 10,000 years off of, that 1 year off of 10,000 people.
Still doesn't have it a week later.
Tongue twist. And then if I were to say 5 years, it'd be a year off of 50,000 people, right?
Yeah.
So what I was hearing was you were multiplying the years too. So whenever you were saying, I was like, you said 30 or 40 years, I'm like, dang, you're going to take 30 or 40 years off of 40,000 people's lives? It messed me up big time. And I'm like, you're just going to see everybody start dropping dead. So I thought you were talking about multiplying years. If we're just talking a year.
Yeah.
Off of what we're taking off everybody. I mean, my answer immediate would have been the same as yours. What was it? Someone in the comments said 40. I said, yeah, minimum 40.
Yeah, I felt mine was generous, actually. Like, when you think about the fact that we have so many people in the world, like, it's just a year. But at the same time, you guys were both lowballing. I'm pretty sure you and Perry both lowballed. So.
Right. I don't know if Perry fully got it either. We haven't discussed it since. But it's just, I'm like, I just didn't want to imagine. Let's say half the people are affected, and 200,000 people drop dead because I took 40 years off of their life. You know what I mean? I didn't want that. I'm not a monster, but if it's just a year, give me all your lovin's.
Well, I will make sure that the crazy take today is so easy anybody could answer it without complications, because this is like episode 11, and I'm pretty sure you've been confused on 9 of the hot takes.
I think 11 of the hot takes, honestly, or the crazy takes.
You're just that good with math.
So anyway, so you're going to help me through it?
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. So yeah. Interesting topic too. We where I work and in the people I know, we've talked about what they would do. And a few people said straight up, "I'm taking all the years." I'm like, what? And that was pretty interesting. They didn't have all the rules involved, but they were still going on about, yeah, I'm taking all the years, and I'm going to outlive every generation, and one person said they're going to make this world a better place, kind of a utopia. He went the God complex route. I liked it.
I had it in my back pocket if you guys got crazy. I was going to say you can't use it for your own gain, but you guys were like, a year, 8 years. So I was like, okay, well, I don't even have to mention that then.
Yeah, so basically, I'm sorry for ruining your crazy take.
It's all good. I think that it was still good.
And other feedback we had, though, thank you so much for this past Friday's engagement on that video, the St. Patrick's Day episode. That was our most viewed. That was our most comment engaging. And even on Twitter, there was just a lot going on. So We appreciate it. And I received and all the text messages I receive on it, too. So I received a text from my father. He texted both Chris and I in a separate thread saying, hey, I just want you both to know that I love you to the moon and back, and you're both my world. And I sent him some GIF, and then I just said, "Don't play stupid games, Father." And then you know what else he said?
What?
He said, I was just so proud to see both my sons. But what the heck are y'all doing losing to Mac?
Yes.
I
got the best of both your children.
Yeah, I think I answered along the lines of, it's okay, we're gonna double team that ass next time. So,
Might have to.
so anyway, that was fun feedback. And as far as the tried expressions were popping up in our comments, and
I'm guilty of the "it is what it is" thing. I'll be upfront and honest. Guilty.
there are things I'm guilty of, and I couldn't think of it right now. But what was I will miss a few of our subscribers that did say don't play stupid games or we win stupid prizes. I'll miss you guys. Thank you for contributing what you had so far, but it was time for us to go our separate ways. I told you should have been the one answering that.
Yeah.
I just hit block. But no. But real quick before we move on to pop culture, another tried expression I failed to mention. And trust me, when I say I hate it with a passion, I don't know why it annoys me so much, but it's just because everyone says it. And again, like it's original. What happens if I were to tell you, man, I am so pissed off? What comes to your mind?
Better to be pissed off than pissed on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one.
I figured that.
It's too obvious. Everyone says it. I hate it. I just hate it.
In fairness, it's true.
Oh, there's no denying it. And I can love you to the moon and back, whatever that actually physically means. I'm just saying.
I mean, if we're going,
I hate hearing it. Better be pissed off than pissed on.
Then I'd pick somewhere better than the moon.
Where would you go?
I
love you to the black hole and back.
If I could visit, well, you couldn't come back. That's just it.
Our love goes beyond.
Let's talk about black holes one day. Let's talk about black holes.
Yeah, definitely.
I would like to visit, out of all the planets, probably Jupiter. Jupiter's pretty crazy.
There's a lot going on with Jupiter. With its geography, its topography. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
The number of moons, the storms, the atmosphere. Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
The fact that, it's not even known. Well, I mean, I think that it's a gas giant, so I don't realistically think that you could land on it.
There's no surface.
Yeah, there's no real legit surface. You'd be in the planet before you stopped.
The science behind that, based on what we know with, say, a planet like Earth, and Jupiter, just trying to change your mind up on the physics of that is bizarre.
I need somebody to explain what that would look like landing onto that planet, because I don't think that would be possible.
I mean, this is where your sci-fi creative genres like Star Wars will pop in, because there's gas giant planets that don't have land. It just goes to a core.
Yeah.
And I think they were written pretty creatively, but then again, I was 15 when I was reading those books. But I thought there was everything there was to know about it. But yeah. So I mean, like I said, everything I thought I learned about stuff like that, it came from science fiction stuff. And that's what's cool about how could somebody explain a landing on a gas planet? How could they? What would it look like? That's the beauty of stuff like that is it's the creative imagination what goes into it versus what facts are, what actual physics are involved. But do you think that's why sci-fi is so popular? Just because a lot of it's known, but a lot of it's unknown, and how could we work around such a thing?
I just think science fiction is interesting and easily taken as a style, because elemental changes. You have things that could be solid, gas, they could be liquid. We don't fully understand time travel or fully understand even interstellar travel. So it's such a blank canvas when it comes to writing, because you could write it however you want, because nobody can say that that's not possible. Yeah. And so that's why if you have a creative I could never write science fiction. That's not my wheelhouse. I'm interested in it, but I'm not that creative or artistic in that way. So I couldn't do it, but I see why somebody's mind who just goes into all these crazy places, all these creative places, would be drawn to like a fictional work in like sci-fi.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. My thoughts on Star Wars are, they're a little rough these days, but that doesn't mean they didn't pull off some great stuff. Mm-hmm. And on a creative scale, Star Trek especially had some really cool stuff. And when you have 60 years of history there, when it comes to movies or television, there's a lot creativeness have to go into it. But everyone does kind of have their own input when it comes to time travel. Like obviously, the most common accepted time travel tropes are from Back to the Future, and how things can change and certain events can affect things. And But one that changed it up was, I think, one of the Avengers movies that came out where essentially one of the characters, it was explained to them about their time travel, and he said, wait, so Back to the Future was BS? They're like, yeah, it's impossible to do certain things. So they had a new element to it, but when you're talking about like different creations and works of things, you can go in any direction. Like, did you see the movie Interstellar?
I did not.
Okay, that is a fantastic film. I'll recommend to you because it's black hole. It's how black holes affect time, and there's a mission again to save the world because Greta was right. So we're trying to get out there, but we're near a black hole, and let's just say, what if you were out there, and what if 24 minutes for you ended up being like 30 years for somebody else on Earth? So we have no idea what happened to that mission. In a blink of an eye, everything you knew was changed. So what a fascinating take on that. And as far as how that film gets its resolution, I mean, that's Christopher Nolan. He's a great director, and his stories are always so intriguing. And I think you'd like it. I'd recommend it from a sci-fi perspective, from a science perspective. I can see some things you probably wouldn't like about it, as far as now, that's not possible, but still fun.
My wife does not like the fact that when I watch movies, I pick holes apart, like things that are just not plausible in movies. I try to keep it to myself for the most part, but there are certain things that just drive me nuts. Like, that's not even possible. I don't know why this is in the movie.
I'm not going to use this as a hot take, but I will say what also kind of annoys me when I watch movies with people, like, it's funny to occasionally point out, a continuity error. Mm-hmm. Let's say there's one scene that his shirt was that way, and the next scene it's not, and then it's back, or something's broken or placed. Those can be funny, but I have friends will be watching, and they have to point it out every time. Oh, look, did you notice that? Yeah, I'm trying to watch. Stop. I get, you noticed something. Duh. But that's kind of annoying.
Have you ever seen the movie Insidious?
I have not. But before we go there, let's go ahead and seg into pop culture, since we were already there. Yeah, Insidious. I've not seen it, and I don't do scary movies. You can't pay me to get scared, so to speak. I don't like it. But I have been intrigued by that one. What is it about Insidious?
You were talking about the continuity errors.
Yeah.
And I'm not good at that necessarily. Like spotting this cup is here, and then all of a sudden it's over here, and then it's back over there. Like, I would not be good at that. But there was the first time I was watching Insidious, which I've said before, I don't watch the same movies a lot, but I have seen Insidious a couple different times. But the first time I was watching it, there's this little boy. There's this little tiptoe through the tulip. This little song that's playing, and it's kind of a creepy sounding song, especially when you're watching a scary movie.
It's always children and little songs like that.
And this little boy was hiding in one of the frames. I noticed it the first time, and so like when I watched it with my wife, I was like, "Did you see that?" And she was like, "No," and I was like, I waited until he appeared, and then I went back and showed her that he was in a previous frame. But I did that like with two different people. I don't remember who the other one was, but I did it with my wife. I showed her, and then I showed somebody else. But that was like one of the few things that I picked up on before it happened.
I think we actually had talked about that before.
Probably
just in a brief discussion, because I think we were talking about these little things, these little urban myths in film. There was a movie I want to say it was late 80s. It was called 3 Men and a Baby. It had like Ted Danson, Tom Selleck, and Steve Guttenberg of Police Academy fame. And it's 3 men having to raise this baby. I can't remember what the circumstances were. I don't even know if it was theirs. I don't know. But there is a well-known urban legend about on that movie is a legit ghost in the movie that the camera pans, similar to what you're talking about. I wonder if Insidious was almost like a nod to that. But there was a little boy in frame, and they always, like every show that likes to cover that stuff, look right here, circle. There it is, as I'm going to put up on the screen. Ding! And there it is. That's a ghost. They're saying that was nobody, that was not an extra. They don't know who it was.
So wasn't there a person hanging in the Wizard of Oz or something like that in the background?
Ooh, I have heard that, but I completely forgot about that.
I think it was the Wizard of Oz. I could be wrong, but it's like a person that like hung themselves on set. It's just like hanging in the background.
I never knew if that was actually true or not. I mean, I remember they were watching a special on that on the TV. I remember
On the tubes.
when I was watching my stories. I remember watching that and seeing that, and I never followed up on it. It makes me mad. I forgot about it. But yeah, was that real?
You're the guy. I don't know.
I mean, what a crazy story if true, and sad to top it off. But how crappy would you feel if you're the editor and the director? On the creative side, just forget about this. They're thinking it's like some piece of scenery in the messed up world of Oz.
Because I think it's shadowy. I think it's in shadow.
That's messed up.
I'm gonna look it up after this episode is over.
I'm not laughing.
I want to know.
It's just how it was missed. I'm just like, oh my gosh, for the whole.
It's like you didn't realize that you were filming during that same time frame, and somebody had to go through the footage and make sure that wasn't.
It'd be different if this was like Air Bud 6 and a straight to DVD Walmart movie. This was one of the most popular films of all time in The Wizard of Oz. And that was left in.
I'm pretty sure it was The Wizard of Oz.
You know what?
There's all kinds of film stuff.
I watched The Wizard of Oz. We went to go see a musical called Wicked, based on The Witch, and it was okay. It was okay. My personal thoughts were it was more about like save the animals than anything. I'm like, what the heck? This is more. It had nothing to do with anything other than save the animals. And I'm like, I can't believe I paid money for this. But I digress. That night we came home. We were going to have a hangout, some buddies of mine, and then I said, hey, while we're waiting, why don't we just pop in The Wizard of Oz? It was the last time you saw that film?
2 decades, maybe.
Okay, so it's been a minute. On the rewatch, we both were kind of enamored with because it's black and white at first, and the song, the singing, and the acting. It's like, okay, I love an old movie. I love an old vintage movie, but man, the tornado special effects were amazing for 1939.
Yeah.
To this day, I'm going, how did they do that? That looks better than most of today's CGI. There was a movie about 8 years ago came out where there were like dual tornadoes just destroying Tulsa, and they even created a fire-nado when it hit a propane tank. And I'm like, oh yeah, that gets the testosterone going, but it still looked fake. Wizard of Oz blew them out of the water, and that was 80 years ago. But yeah, as far as music goes, thank you, Barry. As far as music goes, though, you know what I've been listening to lately?
What have you been listening to?
Weird Al. Weird Al is he's somebody. He's been around. He's been doing this for over 40 years. This his music. I think he retired, but I think he came back. And 40 years strong. This man, he's known as in mainstream as, he's the goofy musician who makes parodies of hit songs. Yeah, but. And people don't give him the credit that he deserves, because his music, you have to be almost like a creative genius to do the same thing, but then actually make it funny and have it make sense on a thematic level. Like, for example, Madonna has a song, Like a Virgin, and his version was Like a Surgeon. And he tells this whole story of how he was a failed medical student, and he's got a lot of malpractice suits, and, how does the song go for like a virgin, touch for the very first time? And his is like a surgeon, cutting for the very first time. And it ends with, I can hear your heartbeat for the very last time. And you hear beep. I mean, it is, okay, so it's goofy, but he tells a story with his songs. Like there was Presidents of the United States of America, Lump. He had Gump.
Yeah.
Just clever stuff. MacArthur Park. Jurassic Park. He ripped on Achy Breaky Heart with his Achy Breaky song. He's like, don't play that song, that Achy Breaky song. And then he rips it.
He did the white and nerdy instead of riding dirty.
Yes.
Look at me, I'm white and nerdy. That's pretty funny.
I heard you the other day listening to Gangster's Paradise on your phone. And you were into it, and I was hearing you sing it, which I won't ask you to do today unless you just want to just lay down a track.
Not in the mood.
But I was gonna try and play the Weird Al version, Amish Paradise, and I couldn't because everybody kept going in and out of your office.
Yeah.
But yeah, Amish Paradise is probably one of my favorite
Weird
Al parodies. There's too many to list. They're great. They're funny. And matter of fact, I wouldn't know a lot of mainstream music today because remember my journey was a little different. I wouldn't know a lot of music today had it not been for Weird Al. And I, a lot of times, will appreciate him first and then go listen to what it was. And so I mentioned he did a song called Jurassic Park, which is based on MacArthur Park. MacArthur Park ended up being one of my favorite songs because of Weird Al. I never really got into Michael Jackson. I know, big crime, but we never listened to it in my family when I was growing up. I got into him when I was an adult.
Eat It.
And yeah, he did Eat It. And because Eat It was so awesome, I was like, well, let's listen to, my wife says, here, let's listen to Beat It. And I was like, oh, dude, Beat It is awesome. I heard, you always know the song, but you don't know the whole song. And listening to it, I was like, yeah, I never would have actually wanted to listen to this had it not been for Weird Al. So Weird Al is responsible for a lot of my interest in mainstream because he did it so well. Like, he had...
It's hard for me to listen to American Pie without thinking about his Jedi version.
This here Anakin guy.
Yeah. I can listen to Don McLean and hear the song.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, there are parts that I just like think about the Weird Al version.
Sure. And that's just because your mind goes there. Now, a lot of people don't, like I said, there's no respect on Weird Al, and it's not because of anything other than the perception of who he is and what he's did. It's like, oh, there's no talent there. Like, incorrect. Very talented.
He's musically gifted, for sure.
Very gifted. And I think a movie about him, I don't know if you knew about this, a movie about him and like a little biography movie dropped on Hulu. And he's played by the actor that plays Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe, the kid with the glasses.
Yeah.
He's Weird Al. Weird, isn't it? Yeah. Well, he went out of his way to shed the Harry Potter skin, and he takes on different roles. And he legit wants to be. He goes, I am an actor. I don't care what I do. I'm going to be an actor. And most of them are like that. I'm not the biggest fan of, like I said, the series, and I'll catch an occasional actor here and there. Like there was this like this annoying fat little kid in the early Harry Potter movies. His name was Dudley. He shows up in this Western called The Ballad of Buster Scruggs on Netflix, which is a conversation on its own because there's so many reasons why that's a top Western for me, even though most people don't like it. I digress. He shows up as this armless, legless man, and he was sharing. This particular tale was with him and Liam Neeson, and it was so bizarre, so over the top that the kid went up in my book as far as I'm like, okay, I see your acting chops, and you did a great job. I'll watch you in something else. But yeah, people, they want to be known differently from what they were, and this goes back to a crazy take of ours, Jennifer Lawrence. She has a movie coming out. I saw it was weird. We had just done the show, talked about that, about me redeeming her career, and what I wanted to redeem was specifically is I want to make the movies as her that I would want to see, that my friends would want to see. Quit trying to nab all those Oscar-winning roles that are boring. Well, no one's really going to watch, even though you're going to get the accolades. Oh, yes. Man, if you want me to take you serious, just learn how to be silly. Learn how to just be in an action movie. Learn how to be in a rom-com. But she is in a movie coming out called No Hard Feelings. And I didn't recognize it was her at first, but it's a kind of a vulgar comedy, almost like, it'd be like the comedies that we grew up with that were just silly, over the top, and vulgar, like Something About Mary. And she's in it, and the trailer was actually rated R, so it was pretty graphic in the language. But I'm like, this is Jennifer Lawrence? This is outside of her normal, what she does. And I went, maybe she watched the show.
Yeah.
Maybe she took into consideration what we were saying. And she's like, you know what, you're right. I need to do this for the fans.
I think she DM'd us. That didn't happen.
I mean, well, that wasn't Jennifer Lawrence? Who did I send that picture to?
You don't want to know.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
You're doing the truffle shuffle.
Oh, man.
To people. DM me for truffle
Do you
shuffles.
Do you find this gentlemanly?
I just see you like standing in a dark room with like eyeliner on, doing the truffle shuffle on camera.
That sounds like a potential comeuppance. Not today.
In jorts.
I'm trying to be artistic here, okay?
That's artistic, all right. Jeez.
I just want her to see that I too could be considered for the arts, and not just fun in front of my friends. I need the accolades. Well done, gentleman, JD. Well done. But either way, I'm sorry for the DMs. I'm sorry I didn't know how to read the cease and desist letter. We'll get on top of that. But we're trying to keep it all normal here. I'm not crazy. I'm just very passionate. You know what I am crazy about, though, Mac?
What? What's that? All right. So for today, I promised an easy one, right? I promised
Thank goodness.
not difficult to explain.
Mm-hmm.
How about this? Today you become a superhero. All right. Superheroes are kind of in your vein, so you like superheroes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you become a superhero today.
Mm-hmm.
Option A, you're a superhero who every time you fight crime, you get the bad guy, but you always get wounded in some way. Either gunshot, you get stabbed, you get the crap beat out of you with a golf club, baseball bat.
Yeah.
Something bad happens physically
Every time.
that hospitalizes you.
Yeah.
Or option B, you're great at your job. You arrest people all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is the charges never stick. So nobody that you apprehend ever gets caught and put in jail. I guess it's a loophole with like vigilante justice or something. They just get off with it.
No. Okay, so let me ask you this: do we know what? Am I just a vigilante, or do I have superpowers in any way, shape, or form? Do they factor in?
Okay, superhero was used loosely in the fact that you don't actually have superpowers.
I'm a self-titled superhero. Got it.
Yeah.
So for those that have
You're
seen
like
Mystery
Batman.
Men,
Okay, so this is gonna make my wife mad. Actually, I might say that for a hot take. No, I'm gonna say it now. This might make my wife mad. It will make my wife mad.
Okay.
Batman is not a superhero. Batman is a gadget hero. He is a vigilante who utilizes his monetary capital to buy equipment that makes him able to fight crime, but he's not actually a superhero in any way, shape, or form. She thinks I'm talking bad about him, but that's actually more respectable. Like, can you imagine they had that whole Batman versus Superman thing?
Yeah.
Batman should absolutely get his butt whooped in that battle. Like, it shouldn't even be like, it would be like a B card fight. Like, it shouldn't even be like a main event. Nowhere near it, right? Because he has no powers. But Batman still somehow contends with somebody like Superman.
Do you know what his what? Besides, he's the Dark Knight. He's you know. Do you know what else he's known as? He's known as the world's greatest detective, and it's indicating he has a mind like no other. So I hear you, by the way. But what I'm getting at is too. So not only he's the financier of everything. He's really smart, and he's a ninja, by the way. Like a straight up trained ninja.
After Bane broke his back.
I mean that in one story, but like in the original story, he like the Christian Bale films, that was pretty much his origin. He went to train with the League of Shadows and was a bad dude.
Yeah.
So that same movie, the Batman v Superman, the sequel to that was Zack Snyder's Justice League, and the Flash asked him, "What's your superpower?" "I'm rich." So like it's self-aware.
Yeah. So you're a gadget hero, basically. The tangent leads us to that.
I'm probably not going to be the smartest, and I'm probably not be the most well-financed, but I got some cool gadgets. Got it. But I'm doing the right thing in my mind.
Yeah. Vigilante justice at its best. Either way, you're busting crooks, but the only way that the charges stick and make your job worthwhile is if you're constantly getting gunshots and stab victims.
Okay. But either way, I'm going to live. So.
Yeah, you will live.
Oh, this is fun because any route I go, if I'm busting somebody and they're going down for the good of the community, and it's going to take me 3 weeks to recover from a busted, shattered elbow or something, or I can't, my eye's swollen shut, or I have an orbital bone broken, something's going to just keep me out, and the wife has to patch me up,
and your doctor bills are climbing.
Yuck. Okay, so. Justice is being done, and at the same time, but I'm just foolhardy enough to keep pursuing it because that's the right thing to do. On paper, sounds good and noble. But you're right, it is easy. Here's why I'm going to go ahead and not do that. Here's why, because...
You always surprise me. You always pick the one that I think is the dumb one.
Here's why I'm not going to do it, though, and why I think it's not as dumb.
Oh, God.
if I'm busting people and getting them turned in and they're being turned back onto the street and I'm not injured, I can take them back down. I can just inconvenience their lives. And
You actually can't. You would get arrested for harassment at that point.
I got to up my... Okay, I probably would. I'll get busted eventually, but I'll have the people... By then, I would have built a brand as far as I would utilize my social media. I would have a logo. Hashtag free JD. Sure, I'd get caught, but the point is, if I'm out of commission, there are more crimes happening that I can't stop. I'm not going to go out there with one leg and try to hobble my way and then get my butt whooped even more, re-injure myself. So if it doesn't stick, I can, by the way, instead of harassing this person, I can just move on to the next person and then revisit depending on severity or any hot tips I get from my faithful sidekicks, which I know I'll have. I'm sure MacMan will be.
So here's why I think that take is faded. Number one, if they never get any penalty or repercussion for their actions when you apprehend them, then your whole point, the whole reason for your existence is pointless.
It's the hustle, and it's the hustle.
It's absolutely pointless. Absolutely pointless.
Here.
And you might be actually hindering the police from being able to do their job. So maybe they apprehend him and get him in jail, and you just ruin that case because they can't use any of the evidence that you tampered with.
I have a family to provide for, though, and the people love me.
They wouldn't. The cops would hate you. People would hate you.
You're just telling in the scenario that's actually how it is?
That it would have to be.
How would it have to be? The sheep would back me. But here before
they don't even back Batman, and he's actually getting.
Well, I was say before you go further, I was going to mention that you realize Batman does the same thing. He can lock them up, but boy, they're always getting out. How many times has he gone after the Joker or Mr. Freeze or the Riddler?
But they see
Walmart
jail
Riddler.
time, and people still hate him. The cops don't want him. The people don't want him. They're just go away.
If there was a self-titled superhero I would want to be modeled after, it would be Batman. So...
worse. So you'd be a Walmart Batman.
Let's say... No, okay. So let's say...
my Walmart Riddler.
I'm... trolls, man. I would be this city's Batman, and people love a local celebrity like where we live. Why wouldn't I have that following? I think I would have that backing, and at the same time, I'm gonna push the whole Batman angle. I'm JD, man, and I'm gonna stop it, and I'm gonna save the day. Charges may not stick. The bad guy will get out, but people love the fight. The people will get behind me, and I won't be hurt. I won't be injured, and my hospital bills will not be racking up. And I will take the selfish take on that. I've had some hospital bills that are not fun. What if it was a redemption angle? What if I went the route I said, it's nothing sticking, and then I have a change of heart? Do get my butt whooped, but that person goes down at the end. Would I be seen as the stronger hero? If wow, he really did give it his all that time.
So you're already converting to the other choice?
No. I start off of one and I morph into the other one. And I'm seen as a sack. Now my status is even better. And JD Man, the brand, with the logo, and as long as the people love me and I can keep myself in the spotlight,
then stay your ass at home.
No. Because I think I have a chance. I have to go on what's called the hero's journey. I have to learn the right values, and by the end of it, maybe I'll come around to be that guy does the right thing. And
it just sounds like
a great story.
You want to be a self-important, self-righteous person.
That's the hero's journey. I started off for the wrong reasons, and eventually I'm going to make the right decision.
I don't care if you're going to jail. Well, then why are you doing it?
Well, I wouldn't say I wouldn't care. It's like, oh dang, screwed up again. Mess up some kind of evidence, or if you beat the crap out of somebody in interrogation.
Tamper with legit evidence.
Every criminal gets released because I'm overly harsh in interrogations. I just show up. Where are the drugs? Ugh. He has to be released legally.
He already gave him the location. You walked in afterwards, just beat the shit out of him. They're like, dude, we already got it. What?
I can see why the police might be frustrated with me on that.
You're like, oh, JD, get the f*** out.
And the prosecutors. He's a menace to society. I'm like, I'm the bad guy? No. Justice will be done.
They wanted my help. They wanted it. Like they need me.
The gentleman of justice.
No.
Ooh.
The gentleman. Gentleman of Justice.
The Gentleman of Justice. Okay.
Speaking of gentlemen,
Yeah.
I think it's time for us to throw down the gauntlet and issue ourselves a gentleman's challenge.
Uh-oh.
All right, so what we have in front of us is a sturdy, sound 5-pound weight. The challenge is very simple. You'll hold the weight out in front of you, straight in front of you. First one that either you can't bend your arms, you got to keep your arms locked out. You got to keep your arms locked out. You can't let your hands down. If your hands hit the table, you're out. Or if you quit, if you just say I tap. So it's a test of endurance.
Endurance challenge.
Physical challenge. I don't think we've done many physical challenges, right?
No, we haven't.
So today's the day. Physical challenge. You ready?
All right, then. Well, hey, it's a simple enough challenge. I'm here for it. Let's get it done.
It's a little cold.
Yeah. You want to do the... Dead arm. What's the pressure point? 1, 2, 3. All right. I'm gonna. Sorry, I was moving my mic there. All right. So how what's the pounds on this?
5. Cinco.
Wow. This is starting to suck though.
Doesn't suck at all.
I mean, tomato. Strength training would have been nice leading into this day.
So I think the next physical challenge we should just do squats. just do deadlift.
25 squats.
I'll bring over the bar and a bunch of plates, and we'll just see who can deadlift the most.
Now, real quick, so I can get into the camera view. Can I lower without straightening or without losing my arm? Like if I were to kind of tilt down?
Sure.
Okay. So I can just see. Straight out. Ooh, the elbows. The elbows are feeling it. I'm not gonna lie. Matter of fact,
dude, I'm gonna beat you at this.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
We'll see. I think you're basing this on my commentary.
No, I'm basing it on the fact that this was a ritual in boot camp. We held our rifle out like this all the time. And a rifle is definitely 5 pounds.
Tell us more.
Tell you more about what?
Tell me more, tell me more.
Tell me lies, tell me sweet mind over matter. Did we start yet?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
5 pounds.
What is it?
5 pounds.
How you feeling?
Terrible.
I
I could have kept going, but you're right. I don't think I was going to beat you.
You're not gonna beat this. Do you want me to keep going?
Actually, I am impressed. I'll accept the title of lesser man for today.
I thought that you had a lot more in you.
I did, but you remember during the hot chicken challenge?
Yeah.
You just said, "What's the point?"
Yeah.
Once I got to, I took off quite a bit. It was the same thing. It's like, what's the point if I think my original idea was to hold it with one arm because I was basing it on something I had seen in a film, and and then you suggested that maybe I should have pushed for the one arm thing.
It would have sucked worse. You'd have been done way quicker.
You think so?
See, I felt confident, but I didn't think it was a So there's a rule on this show that no gentleman's challenges will be issued if we know the victor beforehand.
Yeah.
So I wasn't 100% confident because you're a pretty burly dude.
Thank you.
I didn't really know for sure, but I was confident. I had confidence.
Well, and keep in mind, I haven't done like the strength training portion. I'm not in the habit of holding something out like that in a while. Now, we could, hey, you know what? Audience, what do you think? Should we revisit this, say after a good old, get past the winter doldrums, I'm coming out of my cave, And like, yeah, okay. And start doing my lifting and endurance and just training.
If you do shoulder exercises, you're training for that.
Okay. Then would you ever want to revisit that? I mean, you trained for it.
Whenever.
You trained for it, obviously. So
My shoulders, you can ask my wife, my shoulders are probably one of my best assets.
yeah, they are.
I mean,
They make me smile.
my shoulders are something that I'm relatively proud of. My biceps
You should be.
aren't anything to write home about. My chest or my stomach, nothing to write home about. But
folks, I get to look at these shoulders every day, and I don't know if the 4K camera can really do it justice.
I'm ready to make you quieter. So let's just do the comeuppance.
Oh, come on.
Okay, so welcome to the comeuppance. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good.
I'm gonna hand you some cards. I can't read very well. I don't have my glasses on, so I just want you to. Can you read this for me? What's that say?
A blind date with a man named Nate.
I think I understood that. A blind date with a man named Nate?
Yes.
Nice. Okay. How about that one?
Her is my favorite smell.
Wait, what it?
Her is my favorite smell. Where is my makeup bag?
Say that again.
Where is my makeup bag? My makeup bag.
Your makeup bag?
That's what I said.
Oh, okay.
Are you not listening to me? I'm drooling. Can you? Mega nuts. Mega nuts. Inconceivable.
Mega nuts, inconceivable.
Mega nuts.
Here, let's read this one last one.
I feel like the Joker. Slimy Yay Salamanders. Do you like slimy Yay Salamanders?
Not anymore.
Salamanders.
Salamanders?
Slimy Yay Salamanders.
Okay, cool. So let's segue into the hot take.
I had a hot take lined up. I really did. But because of where the crazy take went, you changed my mind. And let's just get right into it. So, on the subject of Batman, I grew up with Adam West in the 1960s. Batman, punch, pow, kick, biff, whatever.
Bam.
Bam. Good stuff. Good stuff. It was very campy. I also then grew up with the coolest Batman I've ever known, Michael Keaton, with the Jack Nicholson Joker. And separate hot take, Batman Returns, the sequel with the Penguin and the Catwoman, terrible. I mean, I lied to myself for years because it was Michael Keaton, but that's an awful film. Did you know Batman has less than 10 minutes of screen time in his own movie?
I disagree with the Michael Keaton take. I don't think he's the best Batman.
It was the first realistic dark comic book film I'd ever seen, and I thought it was amazing. And then Val Kilmer was next. He was okay, but the film was poor. And George Clooney, Now, my mind has turned around on Christian Bale. I was never really a big fan of the actor himself, but you know what? Over the past few years, I have really come to appreciate him as an actor, and rewatching the Dark Knight trilogy, freaking solid. I mean, he's had the most screen time as Batman / Bruce Wayne. Cool. I'm going to go with, and Nick's going to be upset I don't mention Kevin Conroy, the animated series Batman, but I'm talking cinematically speaking. Then we have Ben Affleck. Let me tell you about Ben Affleck. When they announced him in 2014 to play Batman for the Batman v Superman film, I was upset. I myself and G and everybody I know talked trash on this for 2 years. I'm like, this is going to be a joke. They even released like a little teaser trailer the year before, and you can hear his Batman voice. His Batman voice was this little robot voice in the trailer. And he asked Superman, he's like, tell me, do you bleed? It didn't sound that bad. But it just sounded, it's like obviously they hadn't put the final editing touches on it yet. They used it for a quick Comic-Con trailer. We thought the actress playing Wonder Woman was a terrible pick too. She wasn't near big enough to fill that role because Wonder Woman's a buff Amazonian woman. I was like, but we were mainly trashing Ben Affleck as Batman. And let me tell you, then the day came, I said, let's go see this. And Ben Affleck plays a Batman who is very late into his Batman career. He is a grizzled, hardened Batman, and he's a little darker because it is shown that Robin was brutally murdered in that series, and that matter of fact that he was murdered by the Joker, and so that warped him, that changed him. He got meaner. He was a little more vicious in his vigilante. It was almost like he was a threat, but now that the world's under threat because of Superman, it makes sense why he would be so angry and focused on stopping this potential alien threat. So what I'm trying to say here is Ben Affleck is the better and best cinematic Batman. That's not a popular take among most. Like a lot of people just see Ben Affleck. I'm saying if you watch and pay attention, he was fantastic. They even fixed that voice to where it sounded like the most menacing. I'm talking like I walked away from the film and I said, I owe Ben Affleck an apology. I really do. His take on the role was so brilliant, as was Wonder Woman's, by the way. I apologize for her too. Him taking on Superman should not have made sense. But when Superman is faced with a terrible choice of he has to save his mother, but he needs to have him and Batman have to fight to the death. Superman, all he sees is, look, we can just talk this out. I have to save my mom, and if I kill you, she's gonna die. So hence, he was held back. Now, Batman being the world's greatest genius and the greatest detective and a very rich man, he got a hold of some kryptonite and weaponized it in a way. I'm like, you can see how he brought his A game to the fight. Yeah. Could he take on a Kryptonian? No. Never. But the fight was believable. And it was enough. You can see Superman starting to get really pissed off. Like, okay, you keep taking these shots. Listen. All right, Batman. There was a few times, though, he did the simple, bow! He's in this armored bat suit, but it's like, he just flies away. But if you watching the movie, that's why it would make sense is for the way it played out. That's why they fought. That's why he had the advantage. And in the end, I'm not going to give away the fight, but I believed every second of it. And if you watch the director's cut of it, there's an Ultimate Edition on HBO Max. It's a superior film with a superior Batman, and it leads into the Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League, not the terrible Justice League cut that came out that the studio wanted. But Zack Snyder's Justice League, that Batman continued, and he had an arc. He actually saw hope. He turned his character around and tried to unite a team against a galactic threat about to destroy Earth. He's the superior Batman. I mean, even this new guy, Robert Pattinson from Twilight, he's okay. He ain't the best Batman. I think that movie's overrated. Also on HBO Max. It's not terrible. It's just overrated. I mean, this is it. This is the Batman of the generation. I can see that, but he's not the best. There are people that will defend Michael Keaton's Batman because that's what they grew up with. I grew up with him, and I think he's freaking awesome. But did you know he's coming back too, as Batman?
As like a decrepit, like old Batman.
Well, the beauty of the Batman Bruce Wayne story is it spans his entire life, his younger days when he starts out, and then when he passes the mantle on. And there's a lot of stories about that. So the Flash movie coming out in June. It's opened up to the whole multiverse thing. And so he is able to traverse across different universes and time periods. So it'll have Ben Affleck's Batman in it, but it's also going to have Michael Keaton's Batman in it. He runs into him, and they have to stop this basically interstellar, inter-multiverse threat that will destroy everything. So it was a kind of a cool way. You might have seen it on the Super Bowl where there was a trailer for it, and then Michael Keaton shows up, and he says his iconic Batman line where he's just like, yeah, I'm Batman. And everyone on the internet lost their collective minds. So Michael Keaton has his place. He's great. Christian Bale, really great. Really great. And Ben Affleck, I'm saying, is the much more comic book accurate Batman That's a thing for people that are comic book fans. He's comics accurate to the T, and the better, superior cinematic Batman. That's my take. How about you?
I think I'm gonna go with a pretty simple one today. My hot take is for people that eat steak. So, if
Ew.
you eat steak, it should be medium rare or less, at the most medium, or you should eat hamburger meat because it's not worth it to cook a steak for somebody who is eating it hammered. Also, if you want steak and you want to put stuff on it, like steak sauce shouldn't even be a thing. People that put ketchup on it. I heard there's people from Europe that put mayonnaise on theirs. That's freaking disgusting. But if you put condiments on your steak, you shouldn't be eating steak. So it's pretty basic hot take, but basically quit cooking your meat as far as you do.
You know,
it loses all its flavor, and quit putting stuff on it because, again, you're eating steak for the flavor of steak. If you hammer it, you don't get the flavor. If you put stuff on it, it's just wasted meat.
You say it's a simple hot take, but there's a deeper meaning there. It's almost meta because steak. Would you agree that steak is probably the food?
If I could eat one food for the rest of my life, it would be steak.
Okay, so
Easily.
If you had talked to me 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I'll say 15, I would not have agreed with you. I grew up with a family that used to say the words medium well.
Yeah.
Now, never well done. I know I work with somebody that likes well done. That's fine. That works for them. And I was repeating like the lines of my parents. Oh, I don't want it. That's a trite saying. I don't like my food mooing at me.
Yeah. Oh, I've heard that a lot.
I don't like a bloody, whatever. It's moving, see?
My wife's always like, it's still bleeding. I'm like,
Yeah. Okay. Trite, but true. People say it, and that's their feelings. I digress. It wasn't until, I have to say it was my wife, because, she's of the carnivore variety, and she likes things kind of medium rare. And I went, no freaking way. So, but she helped me actually with some steak and started, just try it this way. So she made it medium. Now, medium is my preferred, by the way. I like medium because it's still pink and it's still juicy, but you're at the end of that road. You go beyond that, you're done. But I'm not opposed to medium rare. I am medium rare to medium. That needle right there.
I have eased off of the rare.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm more, but if you remember when we went to Texas Day, Brazil, one of those fillets that they brought was straight
Raw?
purple rare. And it was the best fillet I'd eaten in the longest time. You literally just put it in your mouth and it just melts apart.
It's funny too, in condiments, we both know somebody that puts ranch on their steak. Hidden Valley. Matter of fact, this person told me he doesn't go anywhere without a bottle in his pocket or in his wife's purse. And he recommended the world's greatest.
Can you do his voice?
Huh?
Can you do?
I got, I'm gonna have some steak and put some ranch on it. Ranch makes it the best. I don't care.
I want some steak with my ranch.
That's right. Damn it. Yeah. Okay. So he's somebody who I think he could play the hillbilly version of the Joker. He's got
Hillbilly Joker.
He looks like a younger Jack Nicholson to me. And if you watch any like Over the Cuckoo Nest or any of these old Jack Nicholson films, The Shining, you look at The Shining, that is this man right here.
Yeah, but more or less, steak is supposed to be eaten a specific way. I know that a lot of people disagree. You want food how you want food, but don't mess with steak. Steak, the flavor is supposed to be a specific way. So
there's the food pyramid, and then there's steak. Here's something interesting. My wife, and you never could have convinced me of this. My wife takes a steak, a ribeye, in fact, puts it in the air fryer. 15 minutes later, she brings it out, and I said, "What are you doing? What did you do to the steak?" And she goes, "Try it." I said, "Fine." It was one of the best steaks I ever had. Can be air fried. It's delicious.
That's my hot take.
We're in
Plain and
agreement.
simple. Yep.
So, hey, I feel more genuinely having talked about steak. I actually am craving that now. Like the, yeah.
Let's get steak tonight.
Yeah. All right. So, I think as you were today's better man, congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
I was the lesser man for the day. And I can live with that. I'm okay with it. Well, yeah, I think we covered all of our topics in a manner most refined. And everything beautifully came together to form what I would call a perfect take.
Or a gentleman's take.
Indeed, sir. Indeed. So, until we meet again, be sure to sit back, sit some garden,
Smoke a stogie.
and appreciate the finer things in life.
The Audience Take.
We want to hear from you.
Any suggestions or requests for future takes, challenges, comeuppance, or criticisms, please email us at AGentlemansTakePodcast@gmail.com.
Don't forget to check out our Twitter and Instagram pages for exclusive content.